Oh, welcome back to the shop. We're in here working on the Barracuda a little bit more. Working on little bits but important bits. I changed out my carb studs for taller ones, but only on this side. So I wanted to have good solid thread contact with this thick throttle cable bracket. It was a little bit short, so I went for a longer stud. But I have to use shorter studs on this side because the shoulder of the body of the carb, if your carb studs are too long, then you'll have an air gap down here because the studs will hold the body up. And if your studs are too long and you try to tighten those down with a little tiny air gap here, you'll probably just crack the flange off, and then you'll be mad at somebody because you didn't do the job correctly. Seen that happen a time or two. So I decided to go ahead and I'm probably going to cut this down for a little better aesthetic. Cut about 1.5 inches out of it. And in the meantime, I have a water outlet fitting here to run up to my heater core. I need another one. I would have done it from here, but I needed that for my coolant temp sensor. So I'm going to drill this guy oversized for a fitting that I have in my pocket. So this car uses the same 5/8 lines for both lines on the heater core. So we're going to do a 5/8 to 3/8 pipe threading here and a 5/8 to 3/8 pipe thread there. That'll allow me to route both my heater hoses up and over. It should look good. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this guy out with a 9/16 bit. Little trick to drilling. Normally I would do this with the intake off the car, but since it came assembled, I actually took some grease and put it on a piece of plastic and put it down in there to catch the debris. And let me grab my drill and we'll drill this guy out, and then we'll tap it and we'll see if we win or not. 3/8 18 pipe thread, 9/16 drill bit, and I pack the flute with grease, which will help capture my chips as I cut. I don't remember who told me about that, but I certainly was not the guy that came up with that. And then we'll drill right down through there, and then we'll tap it. And I'll do the same thing with the tap, pack it full of grease to capture the chips. Should be about through. And I am not bad on the chip capture. Grab a vacuum and we'll grab all that stuff out of there. Nothing quite like drilling holes in brand new stuff.
Yeah. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing. It'll be fine. Or it won't. Alright, so I packed the flutes of the tap with grease as well to help capture my material. We're just gonna rammer on down in there without a care in the world, and nothing wrong is gonna go wrong because we don't need anything else to go wrong today. Let's see. Beep, beep, beep. Keys in the ignition or in the car. Pretty good. Feels pretty good. Pull it out, check my flutes, make sure they're not completely packed full of chips, which they're looking like they are, so I'll clean them. I'll repack them with grease. And then I will continue. So we got a clean batch of grease in my tap. I think that'll get us pretty good for a test fit. See where we're at. And you can see that the majority of the chips get trapped in the grease, but you don't want to go so deep. You want to keep it clean. So like that's enough that they're starting to ball up on each other. You don't want them to go all on each other, so I'll clean that out again. If I need to run some more through it, we will.
Mechanic hacks.
Cheats, hacks, whatever you want to call it. Ways around more work. I want to cut that a little bit more. I'm only getting in about 2 or 3 threads, because this is going to be a pretty, I don't want to really hammer this thing down in here super tight because of the way the casting is. So I want it to fit deep enough that when I tighten it down with some thread sealant, I don't have to really crank on it to get it to seal. So let's hit that with the tap a little bit more. That'll about do us. The threads look nice. Got a bit of trash down in the hole, but captured most of it, and the rest of it's really not that big enough for us to worry about in the cooling system. If it was in the oiling system, it'd be a different situation, but it's the cooling system. It'll be fine. I can find my vacuum. I got some more of these on the way. They should be here tomorrow. That'll allow me to get my heater core hooked up. Yeah, that's nice. I like that. So with some thread sealant on there, crank that down tight. Get our new one in. We'll do the same thing. So thread sealant, crank it down tight. I have a couple more fittings coming. The Racetronics unit that I bought, I ordered last Friday. It came in on Monday. I sent them an email on Monday saying, hey, you sent me the wrong part. And I haven't heard hide nor hair about it since, so they said they were looking into it, and they haven't looked into contacting me back. So I found a stainless steel pipe to pipe, a stainless steel 45, and a stainless steel pipe to hose, which will get me the same thing, and it will definitely allow me to do it without lifting the intake, because the other one I think was going to hit the front cover. So I think I'll have that problem overcome. Hopefully. We'll see. That's a challenge for another day. I've got wiring ordered to wire my ACES EFI module, my power and ground. I'm going to wire those directly to battery. So I'm going to have to make a run all the way to the trunk. So it's a, I believe it's a 10 gauge wire coming out of the ECU, and I'm going to drop down to 8 gauge all the way to the battery, so that I have good power and lack of resistance. I can drill my hole for my fuel command center and run my power feed up for it. Let's do that. Hose. There might be a better one out here for this, but I haven't found it yet. This is actually a Dakota hose. And it'll work. I'd like to see something cleaner than that, but bring this down 2 inches. I think it'll look better. I'm going to cut this guy apart and weld it back together real quick. Instead of it being up so high, I'll bring it down lower. And it'll get the hose below the air cleaner as well. So I think that's next order of business. What else can I do?